AlphaBest list. These are my top 10 favorite games for each letter of the alphabet. We are nearing the end of the alphabet, so you might think that some of these letters are harder than others, where there may not be so many great games. V is not one of those letters. V also stands for Vasel, but I like and enjoy every game on this list easily. We'll start with number 10, Via Appia. You ever play those games where you put a coin in it? They have them at Chuck E. Cheese and stuff, and the coin falls down, and then it might push some of the coins off the edge, the tokens off the edge, and then you win those. It's really not that great of a game, right? But it's a cool concept, and that's what Via Appia does, is you push discs, and some of them might fall off, and you score points. It's really kind of all based on that gimmick, but it's a gimmick that's fun, and the game isn't too heavy and fast, and I enjoy it. Number 9 is Vault Wars. This is a game in which it's kind of like taking a modern concept of going into storage units and essentially fighting over those, but into a fantasy setting where there's a vault and the person who has the vault knows some of what's in it. Everyone else knows maybe a few things that are in it, and then you bid for it and try to win and try to get sets of things. A lot of fun. Number 8 is Valley of the Kings. This is a great deck building game. That's actually a pretty small one. It comes in a small box. There's two different versions of it. Both of them are perfectly fine. They both work together or separately, as you kind of take cards that are cascading down a pyramid, and you're trying to store these cards, bury these cards, but you also get to use them during the game. So deciding when to stop using them and to start burying them to get points really works well with 2 and 3 also. Number 7 is Viva Java Dice Game. Now, Viva Java itself was at best. It just was kind of an okay game about coffee, but the dice game was really an excellent game where you essentially were playing Yahtzee, but you slowly upgraded your special abilities, being able to roll more dice, having different, having extra dice, having special abilities where you could flip things over. So kind of like a tech tree mixed with Yahtzee. Really simple, works really well. That is Viva Java, the dice game. Number 6 is Vikings. Now, Vikings sounds fantastic. It'd be surprised not to see a Viking game on this list anywhere, with Vikings starting with a V. But this one doesn't really feel that much like Vikings. It's all about moving around, kind of not a rondel essentially, but placing tiles down, having different majorities and things. And it's a very Euro-style game, but an excellent one, Vikings. Number 5 is a game that I think I'm the only person who enjoys, and that's Vabank. This game is essentially you are at a casino where everyone is winning consistently, and you're moving your pawn around, trying to get to the table that will win you the most money and not give the money to another player. It's essentially just outguessing the other players. Is that the table that you're cheating at? Or is this the table you're cheating at? And basically out-bluffing other players. But I just have some hilarious moments when playing this game, and it's a lot of fun. Works well with up to 6 players. Great game. It's hard to find nowadays, but if you can, try it out, Vabank. Number 4 is Viceroy. This game, which was picked up by Mayday Games, where you're essentially building a pyramid of cards. Kind of an abstract theming. The characters don't mean anything, but just the different ways to get victory points by getting a lot of the same symbol. A very unique auction mechanism where you are kind of blind bidding slowly and you can try to jump out. Has a different feel with 2 players than it does with 4, but I think it plays well with all the different numbers of players, knowing when to play your special cards. Has a pretty deep tactical feel to it. Very enjoyable. Number 3 is Vegas Showdown, which is odd because when I first played Vegas Showdown, I wasn't really keen on it, but multiple playings, I just have really elevated this game for me. I love the idea of building a casino. The auction system in this game is very sound, where it has specific amounts that you can bid. You're trying to get the right tiles in it. It has a cool look to it. There's a lot of interaction between the players as you basically are fighting over different tiles and then placing them out in your casino for different points and population. Very neat game, Vegas Showdown. Number 2 is The Voyages of Marco Polo. This game is an amazing game in which each player is essentially getting resources and going around and building trading posts, which is kind of typical for many Euro games. But what makes this one stand out is that each player has a special ability, and not a minor special ability, but a game-breaking special ability. These special abilities are an amazingly swingy, but at the same time, they're pretty balanced. And it's really interesting because you'll sit there and think everyone else has this awesome power and you don't, but yours is pretty good too. And then also uses the mechanism of rolling dice and then using those dice and placing them out to get different things. It has a mini expansion, I think, that really also elevates it, but the Voyages of Marco Polo, very fun. And number 1 for me is Viticulture. Now, probably Viticulture would be number 6 for me. I think it's a very solid game. But when you include the Tuscany expansion, this was number 1 by a mile. Number 2 wasn't even close. Viticulture is a worker placement game about making wine and selling wine. But when you add in the Tuscany expansion with the mamas and the papas and the new board with the 4 seasons and the buildings, it takes it to such a depth, to such a cool thing. The component quality is A+. The gameplay is smooth, it scales pretty well. You can play with a larger number of players, and I don't feel like it slows the game down a lot. Every time I sit and just think about playing this game, I'm like, oh man, I need to play this game. It's slowly, rapidly moving up to be one of my favorite games of all time, certainly one of my favorite Euro games. I highly recommend this one, Viticulture. They just came out with a Viticulture Essential version, which includes many of the best parts of the Tuscany expansion. Get it, you will not be disappointed. So those are my top 10 games that start with the letter V. We're almost done. WXYZ coming around the corner. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel. This has been the AlphaBest list at the Dice Tower.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.